Okay, I don't live in Seattle, but I do like the logo. It's very nice. Okay, so the talk is about plant medicine, and let's just generalize it to um, molecules of chemical substances that seem to have um, effects on human physiology. What's really going on is you're getting switches thrown. It's kind of metaphorical, but it's also perhaps more real than you think. In other words, in your consciousness, there are circuits that get fired up when you have certain molecules rolling around and attaching to certain receptors in your brain. But it's like it's like, what am I trying to say? It's like a step sideways from what's really going on, because the physicality that everyone talks about, physical chemistry, the physical chemicals, the physical plant stuff, it's not physical. It's all in consciousness. So where do we go from here? These things are, they're symbolical. Symbological? What's the word I'm looking for? Symbolic. So when you eat a carrot, your body knows it's a carrot and you taste carrot. And that's not what you would say. You say, no, I've got taste buds that taste the chemicals that make up a chewed carrot. No, 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 no. And please bear with me because I know it sounds foolish. It's not chemicals. These things that we are conditioned to believe are chemicals are, perhaps they're the closest thing you could say is their thought forms that we experience in our consciousness. The reason I don't want to call them chemicals and I don't want to call them taste buds is because it goes down the wrong path. It brings you away from where I want you to go, which is to everything is consciousness, rather than we've got a conscious mind that's resident in a physical brain, and we experience all kinds of physical things. This is Newtonian physics, and it's very old, and it's been supplanted by so much more physics. So I really want to get away from, and if you look at biology, any kind of biology textbook, it's all based on Newtonian physics, most of it. The only thing I can think of that in biology that's not based on Newtonian physics is photosynthesis and the electron transport chain in the Krebs cycle. But pretty much everything else is talked about from the perspective of physical chemistry. These physical things are symbols that we experience, but they're thought forms because they're things that happen to consciousness. Now, the reason I talk about this is because there are times when these physical substances don't trigger the expected thing. In other words, someone takes a drug and it's the real drug, but they don't get the experience of the drug that they got before. I'm not talking about tolerance. I'm talking about sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. What's going on is somehow the partaking of the chemical substance is throwing a switch in your consciousness and giving you a certain feeling, and at the other time it's not. And you're looking at it and you're saying, what's the difference between the two times when I took this chemical substance or whatever? The difference is you can't see. You can't see what the difference is, but you're getting two different effects. It's going to be difficult to probe this because there are beings who are actually throwing these switches, as it were, switches that control your experience. What kind of beings are they? Um, Somebody wants to say maybe they're machine elves. That doesn't really get you very far. Let's just say there's beings that are running your experience. And these beings are mostly hidden to most humans. What makes the beings decide whether to give you the experience of, I drink a cup of tea and me experience a caffeine buzz? It's not known right now, to me anyway. But this is as far as I'm going to be able to go with you because this is as much as I know. There are beings who definitely control our experiences. The other day I was reading where a book that said um, you could also treat each one of your organs in your body as a being and you can talk to it. A shaman could do this. So if you think about all the different microorganisms that are in your gut, all of those are, we would think each one is a separate organism, but they're all part of what makes your body work. So are they part of your body or in symbiosis with your body? These other beings that control whether you experience the tea tasting like tea, for example, are they in some symbiosis with you? One would hope. An example, a famous example I'll give you was the guru of Ram Dass, Richard Alpert. He went to India and he had just discovered LSD, the psychedelic drug, and he brought it with him to India. I think this was before it was all made illegal. And he took it to his guru and explained to his guru about how it made him feel so, whacked out or whatever. And the guru took a whole handful of this stuff, a huge mega dose of this stuff. And he took the LSD, and Ram Dass was amazed because nothing happened to the guru. The guru said, "I'm like this all the time. I don't need the LSD." So, what does that mean? How did the guru get to be in a state of being in enhanced consciousness? I think that's what most people would say happens to you when you're taking these psychedelic drugs. Um, well, whatever the guru did, most of these gurus spend a hell of a long time in meditation. Some of the yogis in India smoke a lot of marijuana. How did this particular guru get there? Maybe it doesn't really matter. They just got there. And what that tells us is that our natural state is enhanced consciousness. Why don't we experience enhanced consciousness? Um, well, why don't we why don't we get enhanced consciousness? That's when I'm going to leave to you to try and figure out. Until next time. A hint and allegation is watch some of my earlier videos from the past week. I'm Harry Weaver.